Do you remember the early days when we were dating before we knew all this function shit to this degree? I used to call you cold-blooded in a not like the attack, like definitely cold-blooded killer, like
No,
obviously
like
you're fucking gangster, but like reptile-wise, like I'm like,
oh yeah.
I remember early on in the years, I'm like, hey Shan, I noticed that whenever the environment, this is just me coming up with this 10 years ago,
yeah,
that whenever the environment is really stressful, you
Yes.
get stressful.
Yes.
And whenever the environment is good, you get good.
Yes.
And
for
you'll
so many reasons too.
You'll cold-bloodedly attack other people saying you better make the environment good.
Yes.
Therefore, I can be good.
And a lot of that, so there's like two things going on. There's two reasons. Number one reason is like high play, lead play. You're just so much of a chameleon, leaf in the wind to the environment. And second is movable emotions.
Right.
I have feminine feelings. So if other people are hurting, I'm like, I'm now hurting. If other people are upset, I'm now upset. And it's not, I'm not feeling for them. I'm feeling for me, feeling sad and going, wait, I'm connecting to that. It's a weird.
The DE, especially if FI, feminine at the bottom,
yeah.
if the environment goes this way, then I go with it.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. The thinkers need to become responsible for emotions. That's the bottom line. That is something that I'm constantly trying to beat into my own self, into my own mind, because automatically, by default, all of these TE monsters, all of these TI monsters, all of these thinkers don't realize how emotional we are. It's like, if emotions come over me, I have to come up with a reason and just, put a lid on those as fast as humanly possible. So if you're going to master your demons, you now need to get conscious. By the way, especially these TE monsters, you are such an emotional being you are not even aware of. Like the amount of emotional in you that you actually have to be responsible for is intense.
That's what all the emotional tidal waves are.
And that's
showing you how much is down there.
Right, because you can't come up with reasons for every emotion, reasons for every value. You got to stop trying to resolve the emotion by having a good reason for it.
It's got to be hard to have, thinking about feeling.
It is.
Because the emotions are the powerful, animalistic,
I know,
non-rational, whooshy, intense part of us.
I know. And like the thing that would stop us is that you're just sitting there going, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Like, why am I feeling this way? It's like, you can't have reasons for every emotion. Sometimes it's completely illogical,
right.
How strange that is. So I'm going to show a couple of clips from Ed Mylett. He is just top level of becoming responsible for his FI. He talks about reasons. Yes, he does need reasons for those values, and that's how he remembers stuff. But he also is a level 1000 on taking responsibility for his emotional state. So the first clip, we're just going to see a really good example of what TE looks like, reasons for values.
I had a world-class doctor who understood reasons and leverage instead of just prescribing. Because when we coach people, you need to do this, you need to do this. Doctors do it. Take this pill, take this. He understood leverage and reasons. What you do is you take the scan, then you go to lunch, you come back. I took the scan, I went to lunch, I had a burrito. I came back and when I walk in, I sit down, the doctor comes up and he says, oh my, I can't believe these arteries are in that young body. Got my attention. We walk back in, we sit down. He could still go, you need Crestor, eat clean, get out of here. Isn't that what an average doctor does, right? No, wired me with huge reasons. He goes, let me ask you a question. I heard your wife's pregnant. I said, yeah, I have a son. And he says, do you want to be there when he graduates from high school to be there for that day? I said, yes, sir, yeah. He goes, your wife's pregnant. What do you have? And I said, a daughter. This is where you get a dad. He goes, she was 6 months pregnant. He goes, would you like to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day, or are you okay that it's some other man? I went, what the fuck is on this scan, right? And he goes, I want to be very clear with you. If you keep going down the road you're going, there'll be some other man with your son at graduation high school, and a stranger's walking your daughter down the aisle that's not even born yet on her wedding day. And I went, boom. And he goes, but if you do exactly what I tell you to do, you'll be there. And so to this day, brother, there are mornings when I wake up, not every morning, I don't want to go to the gym, I go, Bella's wedding, Bella's wedding, Bella's wedding. So my standards are high because of my big old reasons. Other dudes may miss the gym that day because they're not going to miss their daughter's wedding if they don't go, but I've convinced myself, I get emotional. I've convinced myself I'll miss my daughter's wedding. So I will get my ass out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and I will get to that gym because my reasons are bigger, so my standards are higher. So that's what I think causes us to have great standards is huge reasons.
It is funny, like with the damn thinkers, like they need to have the reasons for their feelings.
Yeah, if I'm gonna have standards, I need to have a reason for these standards.
Add an extra step.
I have to be allowed to have these standards.
Yeah, it's been funny. Like we'll see people lock on to Ed Mylett or Tony Robbins.
Yes.
It's either people that have TE or TI where they're like, okay, so I play this reason game to get the emotions, or it's the other way around. They're like, oh, I'm very emotional, but I need to start to get some reasons for my emotions.
Oh, sure.
I've always found that fascinating.
The backwards of it. Like, that's how you would do it? Like, having to come up with, or being able to explain your emotions?
I find that when
Something
I
like
get
that.
reasons for my emotions and my values, which I already have,
Yeah.
that it helps give them more grounding.
Okay, sure.
But I don't need the reasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? He
I
does.
hate it,
You
therefore
do.
yeah, I do. I need
Yeah.
the reasons. This tip that he gives about the emotional thermostat, he talks about it where it's
Yeah,
like,
that's the one.
you have to be the one responsible. So he's taking responsibility for his demons. You have to be the one responsible for your emotional thermostat. So, and he even describes it of like, I'm going to set it at, let's say, for me, it would be like 76 degrees, whatever it is. You're setting your temperature. You're setting your emotional temperature
Right.
and going, no matter how much shit happens in reality, I'm going to be the one responsible to making sure that my temperature stays balanced.
It's fascinating with this code to know that Ed Mylett would have that to an extreme.
Right.
So if everyone else is telling them he's not good enough, then he's
He'll
going to...
feel that way and start diving. Notice how he's like, I'm going to get emotional. Like, that's his feminine feeling starting to bubble up because
Yeah.
he's got feminine FI at the bottom too. So he knows, like, okay, how critical this is to be the one responsible for keeping your temperature right at the right thing. He even talks about having, the right people in your environment. Do whatever you have to do. I actually use this in reality. This is absolutely the way to go, of being the one to choose where your emotional state goes so you don't just get hit by the next wind and get knocked out. Otherwise, you don't make it to your goals.
So identity is the governor on our lives. It's the invisible force that no one understands. And once they do understand and get a hold of it, their life can change. And so not only if you don't get a hold of this, will these outward conditions of your life keep being exactly the same, but you could behave differently. You could do all the working out. You could be thinking great thoughts, but you are going to get out of your life. You're going to be the most powerful force in the world, I think, is to be consistent with the concepts, ideas, and worth that you hold for yourself. You will get that out of your life, what you will tolerate. Okay. The deeper part of that is identity. And so identity is very much like a thermostat sitting on a wall, right? This is important. Once that temperature is set at a certain degree, everything in the world externally can hit it, and you will find a way to get that temperature. So even in this house, let's say it's set at 80 degrees. If we opened up all the doors and cold air, just the worst things in life, the blizzard of life came in, the thermostat will kick the heater on and it will regulate this room back to 80 degrees. The reverse is also true. It's a super hot day. Great things are happening in your life. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. If you're at 80 degrees, that internal thermostat will find a way over a window of time to cool your life right back down to 80 degrees again. So the key, the secret key, is to be able to shift that identity. 90, 100, 120. So some of the ways, strategies to do that are very simple. One is let's just say financially, you're a 200 degreer and I'm an 80 degreer. If I'm in your proximity over and over and over and over again, you will heat my identity up somewhere in between mine and yours to 150 degrees. Same in fitness, same in everything. So the more you can layer in multiple people, the stronger and stronger that force is. So that changes our thermostat through association. It's a huge, 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 huge thing. People say you are who the 5 people you hang around. This is why. They adjust your thermostat.
All right, Mr. Pewterschmidt. Now, you know how in your building, your office temperature was controlled by a central air system that you had nothing to do with?
Yeah, I hated that.
Well, check it out. This room has its very own thermostat that you can fiddle with.
Really? I can change the temperature in here?
You're retired. You can do anything you want.
Well, I am kind of warm. I'll try it out. Oh, that's perfect. Now I'm cold.
Crank up the thermostat.
Ah, wonderful. Hotter than blazes in here. But wait, I can turn the heat down.
He's learning.